Oh, what an amazing day. Look at this, look. So, let's have a quick discussion about the car. This is a 2005 Mini Cooper R53, 1.6, 79,000 miles on it. There are a couple of little cosmetic things that I'll point out, but for the most part, mechanically, we are in a really good position. All the work has now been finished. We've gone through an MOT, no advisories at all. The car will be up for sale just after this video goes out. I'll put a link to my Instagram down below. But let me quickly show you the car, the little bits that I'll point out that you just need to bear in mind, and then we'll do a full price breakdown, and then we'll do the costings at the end of the video. So let's get into it. So the rear bumper is a little bit marked. You can see there are a couple of little bits along here. To be fair, as a run around it's good. As a show car, you'll probably want to be changing that rear bumper. The exhaust, even though it is a Scorpion exhaust, you can see that, I mean, it's fine. It's gone through an MOT. There's no holes, no blows or anything in there, but just for stainless steel, you'd expect better. The badge on the back is obviously like a little bit naff, but that's easy enough to fix. Around the sides, everything is good on this side. Front bumper does have a couple of marks on it, so let me show you them. So they're little scuffs basically. Again, you probably want to change it. Little marks on there. We have redone all the arch clips apart from the ones on the bonnet because he's sealed these ones on. So again, and there's a little sort of scuff here, which I was going to take the door off of the other car and swap them over, but I think there'll be a little bit of a discrepancy in the colour matching. But apart from that, we always put these wheels on. There is a little bit of curbing on this one, which is to be expected. It is the front passenger side one, but yeah, for the most part, it's actually pretty good. But I want to point them out so that no one's disappointed if they do come to pick up the car, and that's what you see. It would benefit from a full machine polish. I have gone over some of it just to get out some of the deeper scratches and that, but you know, it's not bad. We have a panoramic roof as well. Inside, it's not too badly spec'd. So we have got multifunction steering wheel and climate control, CD player. I've changed the gear knob for one that was a little bit better, but you know, there's no issues with the headlining at all. It's all looking good in there. So yeah, seats aren't ripped or anything. Obviously you've got that little bit of wear on the bolster down there, but some leather restorer will probably bring that back. So yeah, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. I thought I'd show you the sort of images that we take when we put a car up for sale, because they can actually make or break a sale by the appearance of them. So these are some of the ones that we've taken, including a couple of the engine bay, before listing it on Facebook Marketplace. So as you can see, the photos of the car make it come out really well. Obviously I see a lot of people put cars up for sale on Facebook Marketplace and the pictures are really poor. So normally I will take the car to somewhere like field, lay-by, somewhere a little bit quiet, take some nice photos of it. And not only that, it obviously shows how much work's gone into the car and what it looks like now compared to what it started off at. We're in the workshop because we're going to do the price breakdown, so you might want to grab yourself a cup of tea, coffee, Coke, whatever. Just pause the video, go and grab yourself a drink, just to show you. We keep a total of everything as we're going along. This is the list. Now, I'm not going to read out every single item on that list because we'll be here for 15-20 minutes. What I'm going to do is bulk them into categories, and we'll talk through it, but it'll make it a little bit easier and it won't be so long. So let's remind ourselves where we started. The car turned up needing a gearbox, and it also needed a wheel speed sensor. Once we took the front bumper off and we had to look behind, it needed a lot more than just those two items. So at that point, you'd have to weigh up whether it's worth doing or not doing. I don't want to keep breaking cars. It's not really what I want to be doing anyway. But this one, I think, based on the mileage and the fact that it wasn't in terrible shape, it was just the fact that it had not been necessarily had the money spent on the right places. I thought it might be worth just doing it, and we can show you on the channel just how much work was involved in getting it back onto the road. So gearbox and wheel speed sensor was definitely not all it needed. So let's get into it then. Service items, so air filter, cabin filter, oil filter, all that sort of stuff, £51.60 from Euro Car Parts. CV boot and the grease. So on the passenger side, if you remember, it was split, so we had to put a new boot on there, and we also did the tripod bearings use a special grease rather than the moly grease that you get with the CV boots. So we picked some of that up from OP Oils. It's NGL1, I think, or NGL1 grease that we needed for needle bearings, which is what these are. Come to £16.84. G48 coolant for 5 litres pre-mix from Amazon, £20.95. Central hydraulic fluid, again, that's green power steering fluid rather than red. It's £15.52. That's the right stuff for the minis. Top mount was £23.50 because we needed that for the MOT on one side only from Mar Motorsport. The green seal for the supercharger between the black charge duct and the supercharger itself, £7.99. All of the oil seals, with the exception of the timing chain cover and the front crank, was £66.72. That's for all the seals basically, including the rear main, sump gasket, Vocker cover, oil filter housing and the oil cooler O-rings. The gearbox was only £60 from eBay. The gearbox oil was £27.75 for 2 litres from Amazon. I'll leave a link to as many of these things in the description in case you need to order them yourself. Gear knob for 6-speed gear knob off AliExpress, £7.34. Number plates off of eBay, pressed metal, MOT compliant, £17. And a clutch release bearing from Saks, which was off of Autodoc, £20, and the MOT was £45. Now, some BMW parts that we did need to go to the main dealer for. The battery stay bolt, so the bracket was there, but the big long bolt that holds the bracket into place, that was missing. That was £4.97 for one bolt. The clutch cover bolts for the full set to go into the flywheel, £11.28, so not too bad. The flange O-ring for the supercharger, so it goes between the engine block and the supercharger and it sort of slots into each other. And 2 clutch slave bolts for £33.49. I think if I remember correctly, the clutch slave bolts for the 2 of them were £12 on their own. So yeah. Second-hand parts we needed, other than the gearbox, which we've already mentioned. The front panel, the radiator, the charge pipe, the throttle body, a couple of sensors, and the grey vacuum hose. That was £120. We wouldn't have needed the front panel and the radiator if the one that was on the car wasn't either bolted through or the wrong one completely. Clutch and the flywheel, done less than 1,000 miles. We got that for £100. I wouldn't normally fit a second-hand clutch, but this one was in really good condition. I knew the seller. I knew it hadn't been on the car long, so you know, happy to use it. Obviously, we put a new release bearing in anyway. The snoot boots, the clamps, the air diverter, and the brackets for the stock intercooler, because we took the AirTech off, they were £30. So that gives us a total of roughly £720 in parts. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of that, whether that was good, bad, more than you expected, less than you expected, whether any parts you thought would be cheaper, you know. To get it to a stage where it's gone through an MOT with no advisories, that's how much was involved. So a little bit more than I was initially expecting, but this is where you find out how we've managed to make it cost effective. So when it turned up, there was a lot of spare parts with the car. A couple of sets of wheels, the interior, some panels. We've sold some of that stuff to buy some of the parts. So the Ronal wheels, the split rim ones, that were had no tyres on, they were £150 for the 4. The X-Lite wheels, they went to a guy called Brett who messaged me on Instagram. They went for £150 as well. That was after the courier costs had been taken out of it. The flywheel, the clutch set up, so the existing flywheel on the car was lightened. The clutch was a paddle clutch, but the pressure plate and the release bearing as a whole kit was 110. I think the guy was going to skim the flywheel and reuse it, so don't ask me, but that's what he paid for it. That kit, just for reference, brand new. Did look into it. I think it was about £700 total, so for 100 quid it's probably worth a shot. The airbox was 40 quid. That was a stealth airbox with the hole cut in the back of it. The red interior went to a guy called Paul off of one of the owners clubs, I think. Really nice guy. Met him in South Mims, dropped it up to him. That went for 50 quid. Probably could have got a bit more, but it was taking up a lot of space and I just want to get rid of it. The set on eBay, I think someone linked me to before, that's like 220 quid. I'm not really bothered about maxing out the price on these items. They're taking up space. I need the space, and obviously if I can get some money back and it helps someone out, absolutely fine. The AirTech intercooler, after courier costs, we got 220, and the A panels off of the car, the cream ones, the pepper white ones at the beginning. 2 A panels and the scuttle panel went for 20 quid on Facebook Marketplace. We kept the Scorpion manifold and we've kept the TPE charge pipe to try and use those on another car. Whether we do or not, I don't know, but that's what the plan is with them. So we still have sprint booster left. The front shocks that we took off the car, because we obviously swapped those for a stock set because it was too low. We've still got those. I did give the lowering springs to somebody, so they're out of the way, they're not available. The HEL or HEL flexi hoses, the red ones, we've still got them. And the brand new BMW gear linkage, we've still got that as well, actually. So, all good. Now, on the way back, I have been saying for the last couple of videos, if anyone's interested in the car, you can message me and we can discuss prices. Now, I did have a message from someone, localish. They are going to come and have a look at the car on the basis that they might take it. So I will let you know by the end of today's video what the plan is with that, but that is where we're currently at with the price breakdown. So I'll leave it there for now. We will catch back up shortly and I'll let you know what the outcome of this meeting is. Okay, so the guy has been and the car has gone. Now, I'm going to quickly explain the deal to you. It's not something I actually wanted to do, but it's something that's cost effective, I suppose, for both of us really in the long term. The cash price that the car went for was £1,600. So that's how much he's paid me in cash. Let me know what you guys think of that, whether it's too low, too little, about right. Obviously, when you factor in, we've sort of broken even on the price of the parts. I'm up like 20 quid on them. The car itself, I'm not sure if I've actually said how much the car cost originally, but the car was £1,000 to buy. Spares and repairs with all of those parts. So if we've sold it for £1,600 and obviously we've put all of that time into it, then realistically, including the 20 quid from the parts, we're about £600 up, and we've still got a manifold and a charge pipe. So I don't think that's too bad, but let me know what you guys think. Part of the deal was he gave me an alternator, a cylinder head and a few other little bits. So let's go into the workshop just quickly, have a look at the head together, and we'll see whether that was worth doing or not. So, see you in a minute. Right, this is the head. I don't need any spare parts. I did make that quite clear, but I think he was using the spares to try and get a little bit of a better deal, which is fine. Don't mind a little bit of bartering. These cylinder heads are quite common for cracking, and they're also quite common for spitting spark plugs out. Now, he's told me this head is all good, that he's checked it over. I don't have any reason to disbelieve him. He works for a main dealer of a supercar branch, not going to say which one, but we're going to have a quick look at this together. I've put the rocker shafts back in, the camshaft, and bolted it all back together just so I didn't lose anything because it was all in pieces. But I've not had a look at the underside yet. So what I'm going to do is quickly set it up. We'll time lapse the cleaning of the underside, because I'm not too bothered about the top. Well, I know these journals in here are okay because obviously I've checked them when I was putting it back together. But the underside of it is where we need to have a good look. So let me clean it up. I'll time lapse that and then I'll cut back in and I'll show you what we managed to find. This is not an approved method to be cleaning up a head, but this is just a very quick way to make sure that we've got no issues before sending it off to be skimmed. So I'm going to cut back in a minute and show you what we actually managed to find. Right. This is the head. So we're giving it a little bit of a clean up just to see where we're at. Now, I've labelled them up 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 and 3 don't look too bad. Let me get a torch. Let me zoom in a little bit as well. There you go. Obviously, if you guys see something, let me know in the comments, but I'm having a quick look here. Sometimes these water jackets up here can corrode away as well, which becomes quite expensive to get sorted out because they have to weld all this and then skim it. 3. Again, doesn't look too bad. You can see all this stuff up here. That 2 I have found a problem with. So you can see I've labelled it up. 2 has a helicoil in the spark plug tubes. So if you look on here, this is slightly protruded, whereas if I go back to 3 you can see it's not. So someone's basically put a new thread in there. Now it is quite common on these heads because they are made out of aluminium that they can strip threads if the spark plugs aren't torqued down properly, which is why you need to be careful if you're buying a second-hand head. So this on its own is not a deal breaker. It's not ideal, but it's not a deal breaker. No corrosion. A little bit of corrosion there. Looks okay. This, however, on one that I have found is. So again, I'm not sure how much you can see, but there is a very fine crack in the head there that goes all the way down, as you can see there, that into the exhaust valve. Now, he did say that his car wasn't running great and he couldn't get to the bottom of it as to why it wasn't, and he'd stripped the head off of it and he'd inspected it, and I don't think he could see anything wrong with it, but there is 100% a crack in there. Let me see if I zoom in a bit. Yeah, you see it? So this head to me is worthless. So what does that mean in terms of our deal? Yeah, it's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. So this is primarily why I won't deal with taking parts from other people, purely because their version of what is good is not the same as what my version of what is good is. Now, of course, these mistakes will happen. Hopefully we'll get it sorted out one way or another. At the end of the day, we could both say we should have done a bit more due diligence. He should have checked it over a bit more before offering it up. I should have checked it over when he turned up, but I was more interested in the top end of the engine rather than the underneath of the head, purely because the cam wasn't in the car, in the engine. It was alongside it, and so were all of the cam caps. So I wanted to make sure that they were all there and they all fitted and blah blah blah. But either way, it's not the end of the world. I'm not particularly bothered either way. It would be nice to have another cylinder head on the shelf as a spare, but I've got 2, so I'm not in any rush. In the meantime, obviously British Racing Green car is back. We've got a little bit of work to do on there, so that'll probably be in next week's video. Needs a good clean, 100%. But if you've got this far or you've enjoyed the series and you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. It really does help. It shows me that you're interested in these projects, and we're still looking for another one now. So if you've got anything that you think might be of interest, drop me a message on Instagram and let me know what you've got. local to Essex. I don't want to be couriering cars and picking them up from the other side of the country or anything like that. Something nice, John Cooper Works, and maybe needs a bit of engine work or something, that'd be ideal. So if you've got something like that, let me know. I'm not going to be paying silly prices for them. If they need work, then that should be reflected in the price. But yeah, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the series. Let me know what you think of the car. Let me know what you thought of the price. And obviously let me know what you think of the price breakdown, whether we've spent too much money on a 2005 car, whether it was good to save it, or whether we should have just let it go to scrap and just broken it for spares. So I'll catch you all next week. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon.